Hello and salut everybody. Welcome back to Chatting with Nicole. So I have an important question for you today. And that is, do you know that GPS is destroying our brains? Yes. GPS that we use for direction to take us anywhere and everywhere. It is destroying our brains, according to this report I'm about to play for you. When I saw this, I'm like, oh my God. I remember when my son was younger, he will be like, Ma, how do you know these routes? Because you take different route all the time, but it still brings us home. How do you know that it will bring us home? So looking at this report made me remember those questions from my son. And I used to tell him that I learned. But ever since GPS, it used to be MapQuest. But ever since GPS, I use GPS to go everywhere and anywhere. Even places that I know how to get to, I still use GPS because chances are there's an accident and there's an alternate route out there. Using GPS, I am so relying on GPS now that, I don't even think about how bad it is for my brain. And I know that I am not alone. You have to admit it. I know that I am not alone. But I am here to tell you that GPS that we are still relying on, I am sure it's not just GPS. And I know it's Alexa, it is Google. Google is my best friend. I know that all of this together, they are destroying our brain without us even thinking about it. I remember a friend of mine, he was supposed to call me. He told me he was going to call me, and he didn't do that. And he called me later in the day. His reason was, wait for it, he forgot his phone at home when he went to church. And when he got out, he couldn't get home because he needed his GPS to take him home. Yes, he needed GPS. Well, he needed GPS to take him home. That's all I can say. So in order for him to get home, the pastor had to lend him a phone for him to use to get direction to get home. When he got home, he has to drive back to the pastor's house to return the pastor's phone. That's how terrible this is for us. And I know we are all in this together. So I want to tell you today, I want you to review this report. We have to use our brains because when we are still relying on machines, on AIs, we are still relying on, robots, we are still relying on all of these gadgets that we have, we are neglecting our brain. We are not challenging it anymore. Our brain is bored. Our brains are bored. They're not being challenged. They're not being used. So what do? They decline. And we are like, what is going on with me? Why do I not remember things? Why can I do this? Why can I think? It's because we are destroying our brains without even knowing. So I want you to think about this. We have to go back and reading maps. Oh my God. God have mercy because I don't know how to read map. You know how you just have to embrace your weaknesses? Reading map is one of my weaknesses. I am not, for the life of me, I cannot, even if I get paid, I cannot read maps. But reading this and knowing this, what's happening, I have to learn how to read maps now. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I don't know when I'm going to start, but I have to think about that. So I want you to think about things that you used to use your brain. You used to think things that you used to do without using Google, without using your phone, without using your AIs, without using your gadgets. Think about, those stuff that you don't get to do anymore. Think about the effect, the toll it's taking on our brains, our minds. It's crazy. We are doing this to ourselves. We think it's like 2023, life has to be different, innovation, we have to be where we are, but it is doing terrible things for us. It is doing terrible things for our body, our mind. So I want you to review this report, make your necessary, changes, and start using your brain more. Start challenging your brain. Start exercising your brain. Start putting your brain to work. Start trying things without Alexa, Google, and GPS help. All right? So check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next video.
Tonight, there's no question we love our GPS devices. As many as 93% of drivers depend on them. But experts warn that over-reliance is literally damaging our brains. Dr. John Torres now, and how you can make sure it doesn't happen to you.
Kathy Bannister is finding her way.
We're going down the trail in our northerly direction.
Racing across the Arizona desert.
My plan is to go up here north a little bit, catch.
Like her competition, she has only a map and compass, no GPS allowed.
Okay, I can see the flag.
This is orienteering, and for 73-year-old Kathy, the stakes are much higher than who wins the race. Are you doing this for fun? Are you doing this for exercise? Are you doing this to keep your brain healthy? All the above?
All of the above. I do it for exercise. I do it because I love the puzzle, solving the puzzle.
New research from McMaster University in Canada shows solving that puzzle is part of keeping her brain healthy. Scientists have found that using GPS does too much brain work for us.
They're extremely convenient, but they take the thinking out of it. They take the brain effort out of it, and it may be doing us a disservice in the long run.
I don't.
Losing navigational skills can lead to cognitive decline, even dementia. But reading a map stimulates the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, navigation, and mental mapping.
By turning off the GPS and using a map instead to navigate through unfamiliar routes, we're training that part of the brain, and it's less likely to decline.
People who participate in orienteering report better spatial navigation and memory, suggesting that by turning off your GPS and instead relying on a map could be beneficial to your aging brain.
But one of the first symptoms associated with Alzheimer's disease is a loss of our ability to get from point A to point B. This is why orienteering may be a really beneficial way to stave off cognitive decline, because it taps right into that thing that they're losing first.
You don't have to get lost in the desert to get the brain benefits. Experts suggest changing your usual route, turning off the GPS on routine trips, and getting lost on purpose for the challenge of finding your way. For Kathy, who has a family history of dementia, her good old map and compass could be the key to keeping her brain sharp. Dr. John Torres, NBC News, Cave Creek, Arizona.
Coming up, the big announcement about the new most popular dog in America right after this.